Hi, Fanny. It's so
Hello,
wonderful
Lisa.
to sit with my good friend and talk about some of the work that you've been doing. I know that you recently completed a group in the community, a community-based group for Latino men.
That's right.
And I've heard wonderful things about this group. Could you tell me a little bit about why you decided to run a group for men, and why you thought that was important to do?
Well, during all my years of work, I always find that when men have some help, always there is some change, and always is a hope for them. But it's hard for them sometimes to find a place where they can work the way they need. And in base of our survey, many of the answers were they want to be in a place where it's safe. They say they need a place where they can talk about their things, but it has to be in a place where they feel safe and professional. Then I think if we can say that exactly, a safe place for men to come together and talk in a way they feel respected and they know confidentiality is an important point, I think we can get what we got in this last group. That was exceptional, the last group. I think the most important thing we really accomplished was they feel safe and they felt like good trust, not just to me, between themselves. And I think that is what makes different in this group.
Wonderful. You were talking about the survey, and so Alberta Men's Network ran a survey a couple of years back where men did say, almost 96% of men said they wanted help, but many of them didn't know where to go. And I think with the Latino Albertan men, they had said specifically that issues such as financial barriers and discrimination were big issues for them. So when you brought the men together, what kind of issues came out in that group? What were the things that men were talking about or working on?
Well, I think in one of the situations who came alive very soon is trauma. People have gone through very difficult situations, and they have never had opportunity to talk about that. Family was one of the issues in the Alberta Men's survey that came very high in the Latino group, that the family conflicts were something that avoid or that limited them for their well-being. And in this group, is something came very important, that family was important and relationships were important.
That makes sense. And what kind of things did you do in the group? What did men do when they were together?
Well, I think the beauty of this work, for once, is the men take ownership about their group. They really decide how to rule and how to roll the group. Like I said before, confidentiality and trust, respect were, to me, one of the most important points in this. But also they need to have skills. If you give some skills how to manage stress and to understand with some knowledge about neuroscience, how the body works, how the brain works, how we react, the way we react, you give skills, you give tools for them to be able to change, to observe themselves. That, I think that is one of important things. They learn how to observe themselves, how to recognize how they are behaving, how they are feeling, how they are thinking, and then they are able to decide what to do with that, how to react or how to respond to the situations. And part of these sessions were exercise, where they were working and learning meditation, breathing, body awareness. All these components are important for them as skills for them to learn how to manage themselves.
Sound really interesting and very powerful. Good skills to know. And so some people question why we need to work with men, right? Why is that important? And so I'm curious about why you think that's important and what really the outcomes are in working with men.
To me, always has been a very important point. I worked for many years with problems with family violence, and working with women, empower women, helping the family, I think is so important. But as important is the partner of this woman, the father of these children. If we don't work with men, this woman is still having contact, even when they have left the relationship, they still are in contact with these men. These children are still in contact with these children's and father. Then to me, we need to work with men, we need to give them tools and to help them because they want help. And in my experience, if you work with them, if you give them tools, they change. And it's beneficial for themselves, for the woman, for the children, for the family, for society. Yeah, then to me, we cannot keep working just with one side. We need to work with the whole spectrum, with the family, with women, with men.
That makes sense because we live in community and we live together.
And we live as a family, and we cannot just keep working one side.
I mean, it makes really good sense. And I think that when you're in the work, you see it. Can you give us an example from the men's group? Give us an example of what this change looks like. How does this change benefit men? And how does it also benefit children, women, people across the gender spectrum?
Well, just to say something, one of the men was saying that he normally used to fight with his wife 2-3 times a day. The ambient in the home always was tense, and he was always upset with the family. After being part of our group, he learned some relaxation. He learned to observe himself, to recognize bellic thinkings, and he learned how to breathe, how to have loving thoughts, and he decided to enjoy the family instead of to be fighting with the family. And by the end, one of the things he said was, now maybe they fight once a month, but he really enjoyed his family, and he has been able to stop, to think, to breathe, and then take another reaction. And to me, that is the beauty of this work.
I think that's pretty significant. I'm going to end on something that you said, learning about loving thoughts. That's quite powerful, especially for people who have had a lot of trauma in their lives and maybe haven't been given that love. And we need to build that for ourselves. And so it's wonderful, the work you're doing. Just thank you so much for this work. I look forward to what you're going to do next.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Fanny.
Okay.
Awesome. That's great.